Miss Georgia here with another paper folding project. Now, if you tried the folded paper tree project, this one is going to be real easy for you. I don't have a sample, so we'll just have to see what it looks like when we're done. What you'll need for this project are 8 square pieces of paper. If you don't have square pieces of paper, you can check the folded tree video to see how to create a square piece of paper out of, say, like a piece of copy paper or a rectangle. So I hear my dog scratching at the door in the background. She might be coming in here. So we need 8 pieces of square paper and a glue stick, and that's pretty much all you need for this. Possibly a needle and thread, but that's not as important. So yeah, get yourself, why don't you try to get 9 pieces of paper. Just plain white paper works the best. The thinner the paper, the better it looks. So just like, even if it has lines on it, it'll still look really cool. So find yourself 9 pieces of paper and a glue stick, and we'll start our project. Okay, I'm back, and I've decided I'm going to do a little reminder so that you know how to make a square out of a rectangular piece of paper. So I'm using this whole big piece of typing paper, and I'm thinking this might be a little big. So let's say if this is what you have, if you have copy paper, and again, I say get some out of the recycle bin because it makes neat shapes and neat patterns when you do that, but I'm just using plain white today. This would actually be a good size to work with. These pieces of paper will make a pretty big star, so I'm going to do a big one and a small one today. So this is how you make a square. Watch how I fold this. Try to get that point as sharp as possible. That's a little off, but I think it'll be okay. So you've made your triangle. See that line there? I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to fold that back. So that it makes a little line. Now I'm going to tear this, but you could use a pair of scissors and just cut it. And actually, I could probably make a couple of squares out of this piece. We'll see if we have time, I'll do that. Okay, so now we have a square piece of paper. That's a real nice size to work with. So how did I do that? Make a triangle, smooth it out, bend that extra piece up, make sure this part's nice and straight before you crease it. Tear or cut that off. So now you have 2 squares. So if you're using copy paper and you cut it in half, then you would need 4 pieces of copy paper, because we need 8 pieces of paper, 8 squares. So I'm going to do a little one first. I think I just cut this with scissors. These are about 3-inch squares, and these 3-inch squares will make a pretty good size star. So we're going to do a super simple fold. This is actually a little bit easier than the tree one. We're going to start by folding a triangle like that. This is going to be interesting with these fingers. I have little paper cuts on my fingers and they look icky, so I put band-aids on, but it really makes it hard to do a paper folding project. Okay, so you're going to fold in half, make a triangle, and precision is the word. Do your best to get that really super even. If they're uneven, it's going to throw off your star. You'll see how that works when we put it together. So open it up again. You have your guideline right down the middle that you made when you folded it, And we're going to do that little fold where you bring this line up to the middle. Keep your point and smooth. Turn it around and do it on the other side. So you're going to want to make 8 of these. So there's one. Let's do it again. Neatly as you can. That makes a difference when you're putting it together. All right. So if you did the tree one, this is going to be super easy for you because you're going to have a lot of practice with this particular fold. And I am not an origami expert, so I don't know what that fold is. But this is what we're going to do. So let's do one more just for good measure. But I folded a bunch of them ahead of time so that you wouldn't have to watch me fold all these pieces of paper. So we're going to fold, put the points together. Make sure those points are like the bend is right on the point. Smooth it. Open it up. Remember? All right. So now we have 3 of these. What we're going to do when they're all folded is we're going to assemble them so that they make an 8-pointed star. So we have 3. I folded some ahead of time, so we have a few more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You want no more and no less. All right, so now grab your glue stick. And you can use just regular white school glue, like Elmer's glue for this, but glue sticks work a lot better. So if you have one, this is a good time to get that and use it. So what you're going to do is the first, I don't know what these look like, little kites to me. The first kite, I'm just going to call them kites. You're going to put a little bit of glue right here. Okay. Now you're going to take another one and using this middle line as a guideline, you're going to line up this edge to this line. See that? Getting that nice and straight and getting that point right there, having those points meet is really important. Can you see where this is going? So now once you get that right, and take a good look at this, okay? Things that are important about this are that this line is straight and it meets up with that little edge right there. Okay? You might have to stop the video and just kind of look at it for a minute. Okay? The nice thing about a glue stick is you can reposition it too. So if you don't quite get it right, you can move it a little bit before the glue sets. So all we're going to do is repeat that pattern all the way around. So let's put another glue blob here. We're going to get another one of our folded pieces. That short straight line is going to go along this line here with this point touching that one in the middle. Okay? Get it as straight as possible. If you don't, sometimes you get a hole in the middle of the star, but that can sometimes look cool. But do your best to get it even. Okay, so we're almost halfway around. We're going to do it again. Another blob of glue. That little edge goes against that little line. That point goes right in the middle. We have half of a star. Do it again. This goes right here. Point goes in the middle. Make sure you get those lines lined up. That's real important. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be number 6. Take your time, think it through. Once you do 1 or 2 of them slowly, and you make sure that these lines are straight, then it goes really fast. But you have to take your time the first few times. Okay? Now you can make these out of all sorts of things. My grandmother used to make quilts, and she used to make fabric patterns like this. If I think of it, I'll go grab a quilt that she made me, and you'll see how that works together. Quilts are pretty fascinating. I work with paper instead. Okay, so how many more do we have to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That it? Were we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, just one more. So this one is going to fit in here just perfectly. This line's going to be along that line. This line is going to be along this line, and the point's going to be in the middle. So with the very last one, you need 2 blobs of glue, because this is like our keystone. You know what a keystone is? Ask your teacher or your parents what a keystone is. It's a cool thing. Okay. And it goes. Now, you can leave the little flap sticking up if you want to give it a little bit of dimension. You could even write little secrets in there if you want to, or draw little pictures inside. That would be kind of a neat thing to do. Or you can just use it as a decoration. Now, this looks pretty ordinary. Not all that special, right? I mean, you could take some markers and decorate it up if you want. Isn't that cool how that looks on the back side? But what's really neat, and I can't do it here because it's nighttime, I'm going to try to shine a flashlight through here so you can see what this looks like when it's all lit up. If you tape it to the window, or another thing you can do is you can take a little needle and thread, or ask your mom, or ask an adult to sew a little loop of thread in here so that you can hang it up, and then it can just move around, and that's kind of cool. But let me turn my little cell phone flashlight on here and show you what it looks like when it's lit up from the window. Oops, wait a second. I'm doing this on the side so I don't shine it in your face. Okay. There. So you can kind of see what that looks like with the light coming through, sort of. So yeah, if you hang that up in the window, that'll look really cool. So with all those little 3-inch, like tiny pieces of paper, look at the size of the star we made. That would be a good math question. Somebody figure that out and let me know how that makes such a giant star. All those small pieces of paper. Because look, we started out with paper that was this big. And look at the size of the star we got from 8 pieces of ordinary paper about that size. Okay, I'm going to turn my flashlight off. There. And let's make a bigger one real quick. So now I folded a bunch of these ahead of time, so I don't have to waste your time watching me fold pieces of paper. So these ones are a lot bigger. These are, I believe, 6 inches. Let's see, this is 3 inches, so it should be twice as wide. Yeah, so these are 6 inches. So that's going to make a star that's probably so big you won't even see it on the screen. So let's do one more fold. Remember? I'm going to assemble this giant one and come back, so I'm going to pause this little recording thing for a moment. So now I'm halfway around. I have 4 points. Here comes number 5. That will go right there. So you see how that works together? But yeah, that makes a very big star. I mean, if you had a really, really large piece of paper, remember you need 8 pieces. You need 8 square pieces of paper to make one of these. You can even make little tiny ones. I think they're kind of cool. Okay, so here's the first star we did. You can see some of the glue on there, but you know that purple stuff, it dries clear, so you're not going to have like splotches on your star. I'm trying to hold it up so that you can kind of see. You could probably do things like fold some of these edges back to give it more texture. There's probably all sorts of things that you can do. I just do kind of these plain little stars. And that last one we were working on, look how big it is. That's a pretty big window star. This would cover about half the windows in my apartment, I think. A star this size. And you can do things like make big ones and small ones. You can stick them together. You can layer them. This is kind of hard to do sideways. So have fun making those stars. Now, I did find my quilt that I was talking about. Remember I said you could do this with fabric? These aren't star shapes, but does anybody have a quilt like this at home? This is something my grandma made, and I've had it since I was pretty little. So there's some like little holes in here. But she cut out all these fabric pieces and sewed them together, and just like the stars, one piece fits into another until you have a whole big blanket. I've taken this blanket, this quilt, with me everywhere I go in my life. All these little pieces of fabric are, some of them are my clothes that my mom made me or that I made myself. We made a lot of our own stuff when I was a little kid. Fun times. All right, everybody, have a good time with those window stars, and I will see you for another project soon. Bye.